Creepy neighbor guy got into my apartment. When I was a student at Segi University at the age of 23 years old, I was lucky enough to spend a semester in Kuala Lumpur, far away from my family in Sarawak. I lived in a rundown apartment complex in Masjid Jamek area in an apartment with 5 other female international students. It was a great location, near LRT station and downtown, and while the apartment was not luxurious, I was spending most of the time alone at home, but managed to go out with my friends on Saturdays to chill and get a fresh mind. Our apartment was on the first floor and the building had a front and a side entrance. I sometimes used the side entrance when coming back from school, but that meant I often ran into the guy who lived next to the side door. I met him my first week there, when he said hello to me as I was walking out. I said hi back, which seemed friendly enough. I was young, and KL was full of friendly people. This guy was in his mid-30s and not Malaysian. I don't know where he was from, but it seemed like English was not his main language. He introduced himself and reached out to shake hands. I introduced myself and shook his hand. That's when he wouldn't let go. His grip was firm and tight, and he leaned in, pulling my arm closer as he asked for my phone number. I lied and said I had just arrived and that I didn't have a phone yet. He said that was okay and asked if I had a boyfriend. I didn't, but being uncomfortable with the situation, I lied and said yes, I did. Back home in Sarawak? He asked. Yeah, I said. Well, you're here now and he's there. I can be your boyfriend here. Fully freaked out now, I managed to get my hand back and excuse myself with something about having to get to class. Then I started to avoid that entrance. Talking with my roommates, I soon learned I wasn't the only one with an experience with the creepy guy down the hall. Often we would leave the apartment in pairs or groups and avoided the side entrance. Luckily, it was easy enough to slip in and out the front door. I was lucky enough to have a single bedroom in the apartment with a window that faced the street. Although it was street level, there was a tall, spiked iron fence and small depression of rocks and stones that kept anyone from getting too close to the building. I felt safe enough keeping my window open when I was at home or sleeping, and I tried to remember to close it when I left. One day, about a month into the semester, I noticed handprints on the thin layer of city soot that accumulated on my window. Looking at them, I realized they were from someone on the outside pressing their palms into the glass, as if trying to look inside. Whoever it was would have had to stretch their arms out through the fence to reach the glass. I freaked out a little, but then I thought about the group of students on the second floor we often hung out with. They were good people and would call us sometime from the street to get our attention if they were going out. I figured it was one of them seeing if we were home and brushed it off. I wish I hadn't. Maybe a week later, I was sitting on my bed near the window, reading a book, when I heard a tapping and startled, I looked up. It was the creepy guy waving at me from the street. "Come outside," he said. I said, "No." He yelled again, and with my heart pounding, I pulled the window shut and closed the curtains. He kept tapping on the window for a minute, and I could hear him walking outside. I sat there, heart pounding, until he gave up and left. I realized he knew not only my apartment now, but my room. I kept my curtains closed from then on. As I got busier and spent nights sleeping on friends' floors and weekends on short trips to Thailand, I didn't think of the guy much anymore and didn't run into him for a while. Hoping he got the hint, I was glad to miss him. Until one night, I got home late from a long drinking night in Bukit Bintang area, very late. So late it was early, maybe 3 or 4 a.m. My friends had walked me home and seen me get safely in the front door of the apartment complex. More than a little drunk and exhausted, I came into my room and collapsed into the bed. As I lay there, hoping sweet sleep would keep the room from spinning, I suddenly heard the apartment front door open. This in and out itself wasn't unusual. I live with 5 other people. They came in and out all the time, but it was very late for anyone to be getting home. Then I remembered 4 of them were gone for the weekend and the 5th was staying with her boyfriend. My eyes sprang open and I felt my adrenaline push the liquor from my blood. Someone was in my apartment. That's when the door to my room opened. The hallway light was on and all I could see was the silhouette of a man. He stood in the door and stared at me. I clutched a duvet around myself and realized I was trapped, alone in the apartment. The window was too small to get through, and the guy was bigger than me. In my still drunk state, I decided if I were alone, I was going to be as loud as I could. Maybe someone would hear me. I sat up and shouted, "No!" I saw him flinch and then step back. He said something I couldn't understand, and I shouted over him, "No, this is my room." He tried to talk again, and I shouted louder, "This is my room, get out!" He stumbled back into the hall a bit so I could see him better. It was the creepy guy. I screamed this time, "Get out!" shrill and loud, and he grabbed the door handle and shut the door to my room. I was sitting up in the bed, my heart pounding, alone again in the dark. I heard him walk down the hallway outside my door, and then back up, and then I heard the apartment door open and close. In a moment, I was up and throwing on a sweatshirt. I whipped open my bedroom door, turning all the apartment lights on, checking every corner. No one was there. He was gone. I checked the apartment door, which I found, alarmingly, was unlocked. I snapped the deadbolt and put it on the chain, realizing my drunk self must have forgotten to lock the front door when I came in. Somehow, the creepy guy had been watching and took that as an invitation. I spent the rest of the night in my bed, waiting for daylight and for one of my roommates to get back. I told my roommates when they returned, to their horror, and we all double-checked all the locks from then on. The semester ended soon after, and a few friends and I left KL to spend a few weeks traveling the Philippines before going home. I never saw the creepy guy again. I hope you finally got the hint, but to the creepy guy who lived in my apartment building, let's not meet ever again.